Hello everyone, I thought I would do a little bit of maths with you today, so I thought maybe let's try some time. I'm going to go through a little bit about our clock and help you tell the time to the nearest hour, and then just kind of reminding you of the features of the clock, and then I'll do another video telling the time to the nearest 5 minutes. I've got a special trick for learning that, which I will reveal later on. So starting off with time. This is our basic, what we call an analogue clock. You might have seen a digital clock as well, that's where you've just got the numbers, but an analogue clock has got hands, normally 2 hands, sometimes you might see them with 3, so I will explain all the parts of that. So if you look at our clock, you can see that one of the hands, these are the bits that move around the clock, is bigger than the other, and the small hand here tells you what hour we're looking at, and the big hand here will tell you about the minutes. Now it takes, as the minute hand goes, as the minute hand goes round, it takes an hour for that minute hand to go all the way around the clock. You might see that. So this, each one of those would be a minute, counting all the way around, 60 minutes to go round for an hour, because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, as you can see, going all the way around there. More about that in the next video, which we'll be counting round the clock in those minutes. Now the small hand here will point to the hour, will let you know what hour it is. So it takes 12 hours for that hand to go all the way around and back to the same one, which is why you might have noticed that we have 2 8 o'clocks in a day. We have one first thing in the morning when we're just kind of starting to come into school, and one in the evening when you're just starting to go to bed. And it's the same for each of our times throughout the day. We have 2 of those times, because in a whole day there are 24 hours, which is 12 add 12, which is what we're looking at here. So let's have a look and see how looking at this clock can help us tell the time to the nearest hour. So if you have a look at my clock now, whenever the big hand is pointing right to the top, pointing to the 12, that is an o'clock time, and I've written that here so that you can see o'clock, and I've written a line, and on that line is where the number of the hour is going to go. So let's have a little look here, and it is an o'clock time because the big hand there is pointing to the 12, and the hour hand is going to tell me which o'clock it is. In this case, it is 8 o'clock. So just hold that there for a second, and I can write that on here as my 8 o'clock. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So just by looking at the hour hand, I have 8 o'clock. So that's pretty simple, right? So it just has to, that's the simplest bit we're going to go with, 8 o'clock, and that will change each time. Now, I get my trusty sock to clean this off. Children in my class will know that when Miss Card's socks end up with a hole in them, we don't just throw them away, because even though they've got a hole, they can still be cleaned, and they're very good at cleaning whiteboards as well. So I'm just going to clean that one up there, and we're going to have a look at another time instead. So looking at our clock again, we're going to go round, we're going to go forwards in time for 1 hour. So my minute hand is going to go all the way around, and if you watch my minute hand, you'll notice that in the time it takes for that minute hand, for this big hand to go all the way around the clock, the hour hand has moved from the 8 to the 9. That's it. It's gone to the 9. So can you guess what time it is now without, and I'm going to give you a clue. Remember that. Look at that. The clues. Brilliant. It is 9 o'clock, and I'm going to try and write this upside down and back to front as well. Let's see. Oh, 9 o'clock. See, there you go. So then we've got, that's really as simple as it gets when telling the time to the nearest hour. You need to make sure, as long as the clock has that minute hand up on that 12 when you're looking round, you can keep an eye on it. You can spot it is an o'clock time, and just check the hour hand to see what it is. So I'm going to do a little bit of test on you now. I'm going to spin it around and hide it, spin it around, and you're going to tell me what time it is. Okay, are you ready? Okay, it's an o'clock time, but what is the hour hand pointing to? That's it, 1 o'clock. So 1 o'clock. Have a go at saying that for me. 1 o'clock. Fantastic. Let's have another go. Oh, now those clever ones among you might be able to count on how many hours forward in time I've gone. Last time it was 1 o'clock, and now we've gone round to 4 o'clock. So it's 3 hours later. 1, 2, 3 hours later, and it is now 4 o'clock. Have a little look. Yep, got it. 3 o'clock. I went backwards, 1 hour backwards in time. Now, clocks don't normally run backwards, but just to kind of keep you on your toes, I went 1 hour backwards as well. Now, keep an eye on this one, because this one might be a little bit tricky. Oh, it's a bit strange. I can see the hand pointing to the 12, and that's the big hand pointing to the 12. But I can't see the hour hand. I wonder if you can help me work out what that is. Maybe if I move it forward just a minute, I might be able... Oh, there it is. It is, of course, when it is 12 o'clock, you can't actually see the hour hand. So when you can't see either of them, it is 12 o'clock because the hour hand and the minute hand there, so the big hand and the small hand, are both pointing to 12. So it is 12 o'clock. So that's just telling the time to the nearest hour. I will be back telling the time to the nearest 5 minutes very soon. So have a look around your clocks at home and see if you can spot those moments when the clock is at an o'clock time, and make sure you tell your grown-ups at home, or your big brothers and sisters, or anyone who is there as well. But that is your job, to go and see if you can spot those o'clock times for me. Good luck, and I will see you soon. Bye.